Welcome back everybody to linuxacademy.com. My name is Terry, and in today's video we're going to continue our exploration of the Nginx web server. So continuing our discussion about vhosts and the directives within the vhosts, we've talked about the root directive, which gives us our root path to our domain in the virtual host. We've talked about encapsulating that in a location directive rather than universally throughout our server directive configuration. And we've also talked about passing multiple locations so that we can serve different types of content from external sources as well as from other internal paths. And then finally, we've talked about how to return certain codes to the browser that indicate whether that content exists locally, in some cases a 404, or is a permanent redirect to another location. Another common method of location-based direction for content serving in a vhost is a rewrite. So a rewrite takes a regular expression to attempt to match a request on a path and or a name, and then rewrite that so that the file is then served from its new location on our local system. So what do we mean by that exactly? So for example, in our last video, we created a 301 redirect for forum. So forum, we said, is no longer contained on our local system. We want to do a 301 redirect to google.com. So let's take a look at real quickly what we did. So if we look at our Nginx location and we go to our vhost.d and edit our www.myexample, we see that if we got a request for location forum, we'd returned a 301 and sent them to google.com. So that's not what we want to do. So let's assume that we get a location for a location forum, and we used to have a forum directory on our system, but now it's called forums. So what we want to do is we want to rewrite without having to have our end users update their bookmarks and taking the SEO hit that might be associated with redirecting all of those links, because we'll assume that they're completely the same, except for in our case we changed forum to forums. For example, we had a domain property that now has multiple forums, and we renamed the directory and re-implemented it running forums. But all the existing links that used to be in the forum directory still exist, but now in its new location, forums. So what we want them to be able to do, for example, is to be able to request /forum in anything in it and have it automatically rewrite that URL and pick up the content from the forums directory. So how would we do that? We need to use a regular expression. So a regular expression uses the rewrite directive from within our location to try to match that content. We're going to use the simplest form of a rewrite directive and a regular expression that we can. Regular expressions are something that are extremely complex in scope, and they're well beyond the scope of this particular video. We're just talking about the rewrite directive in our case, and we're not going to explore in depth rewrite regular expression conditions. But what it attempts to do is it attempts to use a variety of character wildcards and capture to match a text pattern so that it knows how to rewrite it into a new location. In our case, we're going to start with the rewrite directive itself, and then we have to somehow determine what it is that we want to rewrite. So we're going to rewrite the path that exists above, and we can say, hey, this path that's above, in this case, forum, anything that comes in from here, I want to rewrite into a new path, but I need to know what the file name is. So we're going to say, okay, anything, and the reason we're enclosing this, we're saying ***, anything that comes in under the forum path, I want you to capture into a variable. So we're going to get the file name that they're requesting in this rewrite statement. We're saying inside of forum, any file that we get, stick in a variable that we can refer to. And this variable will become the first parameter, the first variable parameter that we can refer to. Now, when you do that, I want you to rewrite that to www.myexample.local. And in this case, we're going to say forums, and then the name of the file that we captured here at the very beginning. So we captured the file that we're requesting in the forum path, and we're going to rewrite it to myexample.local forums and the name of the file. And then we have to tell it what kind of a redirect it is. Is it a temporary redirect? In our case, this is a permanent redirect for that location. So when we get any request in forum, we're going to redirect it to forums. So let's go ahead and save this file. We can test it real quick, which if you're using a regular expression, you absolutely will want to do, because any regular expression errors that can occur, particularly with escape characters or other items, will be caught in the Nginx test. So let's go over to sudo or to cd var www.html and my example, and we'll see there's no forum nor forums path. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a directory called forums, and in the forums directory, let's create a file called forums.txt. So echo forums text file to forums.txt. Now, we haven't restarted Nginx at this point, so if we do a links HTTP on www.myexample.local forums.txt, that doesn't exist. Redirect us to Google because we redirected our forum to Google and we haven't actually restarted Nginx at this point in time. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and restart Nginx by doing a service Nginx restart, and then doing the same call again to forum and forums.txt, so that it's redirecting to forums.txt. So in this case, we called forum/forums.txt, but then it saw the redirect request or the rewrite request for forums, just adding the additional S without anything that the end user had to do or updating their bookmarks. And this becomes a permanent redirect request in terms of the end user. So the end user never has to be exposed to the fact that this URL has been rewritten, nor do those bookmarks ever have to be updated. Nor is a return code call or sent to Google for re-indexing as a 301 permanent redirect. So the rewrite directive, again, is another method of using how we serve location-based content based on the URI that's been requested. We can do it by directory. We can do it by a more complex path. We can do it by a specific file. So if we wanted to rewrite the full path of a specific file, we would simply use the entire path rather than writing it to a variable. Again, rewrites and regular expressions. We could do an entire series of videos on regular expressions. I recommend you look at the Linux Academy videos on sed and awk, because that sed and awk uses regular expressions for text manipulation very heavily, and it's something that will help you throughout your web server redirect lifetime, which you'll do a lot of as you manage more and more complex systems. But as far as our rewrite directive within our location directive within our vhosts, that's all there is to it. My name is Terry for Linux Academy.